I'm going to show you guys exactly how I finished day trading 2 hours after the open using Edgeful reports to help me find my trade entries. So what we're looking at here is the ES chart on the 5 minute, and I have my Edgeful indicators plotted. So I use the gap fill, the midnight price, the initial balance, and the 15-minute opening range indicators. They come for free with the platform, and they're tailored to the reports that they have. So when when we want to understand how often a gap is going to be filled, there are people that say, oh, it gets filled, 50% of the time, 70% of the time. Some people say gaps always get filled. Well, with Edgeful, I can go in, I can filter by size, by weekday, and I can know exactly what percentage of the time this gap is going to get filled. So I like to do it by size, and I'll show you guys how to find that in just a moment. And so we can see there's a 33% chance that the gap is going to get filled by size. What that means is I take it from the New York Open, the measurement tool, and measure it down to where the gap fill is. And I see that it says 0.78% to the gap fill. Now, I also see the midnight price and the gap fill are right next to each other. So I can figure out that they're about the same percentage. And then I go back to Edgeful and I can go by size. If it was under 0.7%, then I would be under a different gap, which is actually the same amount percentage chance of it being filled. But now I can go over to the opening retracement price, which is just midnight price, and it's retraced 37% of the time. So knowing that, I can assume that the gap does not want to be filled. So if we go to regular trading hours now, this is where my trade setup comes in, but I'm using it in correlation. I'm not looking for shorts because why would I be looking for shorts when there's only a 30% chance of it getting here? The shorts later in the day might happen, but at the open, I'm not looking for shorts. So let's go down to the 1 minute. Now, this gray line is the initial balance. That's the first 1 hour of the trading day high. And what's a little sneaky is you can see this is at 729. And if we go, so the initial balance high was set at 729. And if we go to the initial balance report, we know that we only get a single break of the initial balance 86% of the time in the last 3 months. Now, it's really important that you can also filter it for years, and you can see it's a 70% chance that it's going to break one side, meaning it's only going to break one side, not the other side. And the CEO of Edgeful, Andre, actually showed us that it's important to be in tune with what's going on the 1 month basis, on the 3 month basis, because that's what is really moving the market at the time. But going back to the charts on how I actually found my trade entry here, what I did was anchor a VWAP to the high of day, and you can see it's that purple line. When it crosses, that's my entry signal. But I'm trading into the initial balance high here, which isn't, it's not super, it's not the best setup, but I've seen this trade happen so many times where the initial balance gets set at 728, 738. I'm on West Coast time. Um, and then it gets broken in the next trending move. So that's what this trade was really going for. It was just looking to capture the breakout of initial balance high and then a few points after it, because when we do get that break, we generally want to see continuation. So I took it on the break of high of day VWAP and then ended up closing it in profit just a few points after the initial balance high. So it's a very simple trading strategy. I come in and I look at the reports and I see, where's the gap and where's the midnight price? You just go to electronic trading hours, you find where the gap is, which is here, and the midnight price, where the open is, this candle at 6:30 or 9:30, whatever time zone. You're going to measure using the measurement tool, measure to the price, go back to Edgeful, filter it by size, and then you see if it's like it's 60%, it wants to retrace 60% of the time. Maybe I'm going to look for shorts instead. The long bias, I'm not going to hold the long bias. But this is a really easy way to get a bias going into the day, especially if you're new at trading.